The topic is
Wolfenstein Youngblood!
What makes it perfect is that you guys, you don't, I mean, if we start streaming one day, of course you'll see it, but he kind of leans back and he puts his arms up like Superman when Superman flies, and he does it with the other arm, and then he goes back to the first arm and he's like pumping.
It's how Superman tucks one arm in.
Yeah. And the other
puts one arm out.
Yeah. That's how he's doing it. It's fantastic. There it is. That's awesome. That's so yeah, John finally got a TV, and we can play. What's the game? Wolfenstein Youngblood. Youngblood.
Yeah.
Which is
there is some bad news though.
Yeah.
So it's why I brought up the phrase. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. So. I have, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now taking donations, trying to raise approximately $250.
Yeah, yeah.
Because my Xbox One X cannot seem to handle Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Well,
it overheats and it shuts off.
Well,
every time.
It's the One X. Let's put that out there.
Yeah, it's not the game; it's the machine.
Possibly.
Well, I talked to Chris about it the other day.
Who's Chris?
This guy right here sitting next to me.
Sorry.
And I said, let's say you play. I said, you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right, on Xbox One X? He goes, yes. I said, did you ever hear the fan? I mean, have you ever heard the fan while playing? He goes, no, I've never heard the fan. Unless, yeah, I'm constantly hearing the fan. So there is definitely a problem with every game, but certain games, which happen to be Wolfenstein Youngblood and, ironically, Wolfenstein 2, shuts the game off within a minute of starting playtime.
Yeah. We noticed this. We started kind of...
Sucks.
We were talking right before we got into topic time about when did we start playing, because as of, remember, Wednesday...
I really feel like we started tinkering with it Thursday night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tuesday we recorded the show. John's TV story was broadcasted Wednesday that we recorded. And then shortly after that, you got your TV fixed. The guy came. Life was good. And you got it the day... you got the game the day the TV was fixed, basically. And I picked it up after work that day, I think.
Yeah. So
we go home, we install it, and we start killing Nazis.
Well, see, the whole time we're playing together, I thought that you're just playing with me on a buddy pass.
Yeah.
But apparently...
that was not the case.
You bought the game.
I actually bought the game because this was my first time playing a Wolfenstein game, as much as I should have played like Wolfenstein 2 and...
you're just like, how did we get to this?
Well, I mean, what's really cool, and we'll get into maybe that intro part, but you kind of learn why they're you're the two girls.
Oh, they give you a catch up.
Yeah, not a catch up, but it's okay. It does make sense, kind of what we're doing.
Like they tell you how the last one ended.
No. I mean, it's 30 years of video game history with BJ Blazkowicz. You know who he is in general, anyway, as a gamer.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Spoilers for Wolfenstein Colossus. The idea of that is basically for the first time they've been pushed back against, right? Like there was a little bit of hint of it in the first one, but the end of 2, if I recall, like
the resistance finally got somewhere.
They like get there, and they have the TV scene at the end and all that kind of thing, which is pretty epic. But then this is 30 years later, right? So from my understanding, it's supposed to be like pretty much now it's just down to Europe, right? Like it's France and Germany that
I think it's just occupied France.
There are
really?
The game takes place in occupied France.
Yeah.
All of it, I think.
There is dialogue that at some point the girls do say they're down to this. How can we not push them out or beat them? I forget exactly what she says, but so when we started playing, I did buy the game, and our intent was to we had talked about finally sharing our Xbox accounts and buddy passing it up, but I went and just bought the game because I thought at some point I'd want to play it when you were offline or what have you, because I did read up and we learned that the buddy pass, whoever owns the game, the other person has to have a trial version of said game. And this applies to either Xbox or PlayStation or even I think on PC.
Which is the whole 30 freaking gigs.
Yeah, you have to download the trial game to play the buddy pass. It's crazy. But it makes sense if you think about it. So we tinkered
assets.
We tinkered with it. And then I want to say Friday or Saturday is when you broke the news to me, right? About your Xbox was acting crazy.
Yeah. And I think it actually happened while we were I think it happened again while we were actually playing. I said, well, my system just shut off.
And I went, wow. So yeah,
597 days.
that's how long he's had his Xbox One X. I
Good
told
run.
him, I said,
Good
hey,
run.
I said, hey, if what you read about it was true, I said, let's crack it open, put some thermal paste on your chip, let's roll with it.
Send us some emails.
I mean, it's
I don't know.
a
I watched
computer,
the video,
right?
but yeah, getting to that.
It's not like RPCs.
It's not like, no.
I'm
There's a way, like, the idea is to make something that's powerful but very contained, right?
Yeah.
Which means lots of engineering.
Yeah.
Which means lots of screws, which, I mean, like, I was like looking at it's possible. And if someone was very experienced with PC, like, and felt comfortable, that'd be good. But one, John is not that guy.
Yeah, well, I am that guy.
I wouldn't.
I would say me and Jeff will be able to rock it out for you.
Mm.
Seriously. We've changed iPhones too. Screens. We're good. That should get a chuckle.
That's funny.
That should get a chuckle.
But yeah, like just to get to the fan, it was like you were going to have to strip down to get to the chip. You were going to have to literally take this console completely apart.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you have to change iPhones.
Yeah.
You have to take it from the back to the front. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like take off the connectors to the front, right? Then take off the casing, then get to the power supply, disconnect that, take that out, then get to the fan and take off the heatsink, then flip it over and figure out a way to put pressure on it without putting pressure on it to get the bracket for just the heatsink fan on there. And then finally, once you get off, and then you'd have to have,
I ain't doing it.
you'd have to also have the right materials in terms of like, because there's like there's a special type of WD cleaner you have to use to get all that off.
So in order for Xbox to fix the problem, and we'll get back to Wolfenstein,
And then put it all together.
it's $250 roughly. And I tried to call. I called them last night. I tried to haggle with them. They would not come down on the price. I said, so no matter what the problem with the machine is, it's a standard $250. Yes, sir. Particularly if it's outside the warranty. I talked to a supervisor. They wouldn't budge. I couldn't get them down. I was just something. I don't mind paying for a service, but not 70% of the price of the console. Well, maybe 60%. I don't know.
$500?
It's $499.
It's $150 shy of just buying a console, a new one.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
It's
I
a
don't
tough
know.
spot to be in.
That's very anti-consumer, and I don't let those two words utter out of my mouth very often.
You really don't.
But anyway,
But you've had a run of electronics right now, and
dryer,
TV,
Xbox, car,
and like we bring up the
AC,
AC,
air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
Not Assassin's Creed.
That's right. I was like, wait a minute, what? And we brought up the Xbox because we had to. We initially started playing on it. Life was good, but then we had to make the pivot to the PlayStation,
Had to trade in Fire Emblem.
It's crazy too, and this is a moment, but I'd never seen it in such a visual representation of what happened. So the game looked okay for me on my Xbox One S. I don't have an X like you guys. The minute the game
That's right, because
loaded,
you got a Pro, don't you?
it loaded on the Pro, I went, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have a 4K TV and now you're finally getting a 4K resolution on it.
Dude, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was such a difference. I'm seriously thinking about. I know you had mentioned to me before. You don't play enough Xbox to this, and it was a valid point. Like, don't go waste that money.
Yeah.
I got DJ money.
When the thing shut off like that, I was like, oh, I feel bad now. I told Sean to get it on Xbox, and I can't play with it now.
Yeah, and that whole story is because you remember you didn't know I had it on Xbox. We had a chat.
Yeah.
I was driving to a thing, and we had a chat. So, but anyway, we resumed the story. Should we start off with the first cutscene?
Yeah,
kinda?
it takes place 18 years after Wolfenstein 2. You notice at the end of Wolfenstein 2, what's her name? Anna, I guess is her name. She's pregnant with BJ with BJ's kids.
Yeah,
And it turns
his
out there's
wife.
twins. There's twinsies.
Yay.
What's the names? Is it Jade? Jade and
This is funny.
I don't know. I forget the
Because
names.
we say it 1,000 times to each other
know.
while we're playing.
Yeah. We don't call each other Shaun and Jon. We call each other by
The names, and right now
Jess is one of them, and
Yes. Jess.
Anna?
Trixie.
Not Trixie.
I know.
It's not Trixie.
Adolfina.
Trish.
No, it's Jess and
Jess and
because I'm Jess, right? Are you Jess?
I don't know. I think the
Son
brunette
of a
is Jess.
Biscuit.
Look at
I'm the
that,
blonde,
Chris.
you're the brunette. And so the game,
We're all about the gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
the game, like it's set in like the 80s, like very early 1980. The flashback shows BJ, kind of teaching his kids the things he knows.
Mm-hmm.
One of the kids is like, doing a sniping type lesson. The other kid's doing a fighting punching bag type thing.
Yeah. So it establishes that these kids have been raised with the assumption that at one point they're going to have to kill Nazis.
Soph.
Soph. It's
Soph.
Jess and Soph.
Jess and Soph, yeah.
Yeah. So
Soph.
I'm guessing Sophia is and
Sophia's-
Jessica
yes,
is what it's really.
yeah.
possibly.
Right.
Or it's just Soph and Jess.
Jessica and Sophia. Yep. There you go.
So yeah, you start playing and it's really, I remember watching the Twitch. I had seen that part watching a Twitch stream when the game launched.
Sure.
And there were guys I don't know that had ever played a Wolfenstein game or how fast the transition happens when you go from that scene, which is you're kind of in street clothes and you're basically like on a farm. And then as the cutscene happens, you find yourself in like this super really cool, like mech type,
Metallic mech suit. Yeah.
metallic mech type suit that makes you pretty cool. You can like turn invisible and stuff, but you still never killed a Nazi. So the opening scene, you're kind of walking behind this Nazi and there's like, it cuts to him and he's got like his boom box. He's like balancing it on like another box of something. Totally 80s music playing, but in German. And you two kind of get behind him and you're like, all right, we got to take this guy out. So, who goes, Jess or Soph?
Jess, I think.
Jess goes up to the guy, makes a noise. She like stands on something. He turns around and it's that, oh crap moment. Well, then Soph blows his head smooth off.
Yeah. It just pops like a balloon. And then Jess looks at her and it's like, oh, I got brain in my mouth.
And they start like, and it does that
Start
thing
laughing.
that you've seen in movies where they're like elated, like, oh my God, we killed a Nazi. Oh my God. And then it cuts to probably moments later and they're sitting there like, oh my God, we killed a Nazi. And they're like kind of on their hands and knees. And then the game just kind of takes off from there.
Yeah.
Really.
The only two enemy types that you can not feel bad for killing. I mean, they immediately laugh after they kill a Nazi. It's zombies and Nazis. Because both of them are dehumanized in the public's mind. So it's just easy to kill something you dehumanize.
I'm gonna make a
Come
game
here,
of
Penny.
nothing but baby zombies coming at you and be like, let's see what you can do.
That's messed up.
But from that point on, you kind of go into this adventure, this story. You still don't right at first. I think you do. I think we kind of missed a cutscene, but you vaguely know what you're doing.
You are tasked with taking out a certain Nazi general in order for the group that you end up the group that you run into. You have to do something for them before they realize, for them to understand you're serious, and you know.
No one from the first two games.
I wouldn't.
I figured that. That's
no,
why. No.
no.
Okay.
They do that kind of reverse story where they show a cutscene.
Yeah, they kind of Tarantino it.
Exact. That's a great way to put it. You see the members of this group, you kind of tell them what you're doing, and they go, "Oh, yeah, well, we've seen what you're looking for, but we don't know you."
But basically, your BJ has disappeared, and nobody's doing anything about it in the United States, and so the girls take it upon themselves to hijack an FBI helicopter.
Yeah,
and go off and figure out what happened to their dad.
Makes sense.
it does make sense.
It's a riveting, classic, brutal, riveting, great storytelling that Wolfenstein is known for.
Here's a reason, go kill.
Yeah.
Well,
Although Wolfenstein in general, at least the last two, were pretty notable on story.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I thought that was, the thing that most people, or I could say I really enjoyed with the last one, especially, was just the characters that they introduced. Like, that was what dragged me in. Like, the gameplay is fun, right? But it's just, this is Wolfenstein, and, that's fun and that's cool. But what took it to the next level, I thought, was, like, for instance, like his dad in the last one, and then just the various people, like, especially when you went to New Orleans and all the people you met in that city.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, wow.
One of the things that John has said throughout our gameplay is that this is not like those Wolfensteins. But that's a good thing. And one of the things he mentioned, and I'll let you elaborate on it if you want to, was that the other Wolfensteins had a linear feel to them.
You go through a level.
You kind of go through a level.
Yeah.
This game, he says, is different because the level's kind of wide open. It's non-linear. There's backtracking involved. And I'll kind of let you pick up from there if you feel like you can add to that.
Yeah, there's one of the things that we learned early on when we were hearing about this game that Arcane Studios was co-developing it. So you can definitely see their hand in the process. These levels are they feel like Dishonored to me. They're very vertical. There's a lot more verticality. More buildings within the levels that you can traverse, go back and forth. You can zigzag. There's so many different directions and openings and alleyways, nooks and crannies that me and Shaun were discovering as we were going through the levels. You get other missions as you go. There's like a centralized hub.
Eventually, you make your way. What's funny is the stuff we did when we took out that first boss to get into the group. John had gone through it, and when we replayed it, he goes, "Watch this," and it's like the intro. That was not even a real mission; it was like the intro to the game.
Yeah,
because then the logo comes up, and you're like, "Oh my god!" But you end up going to their hub, and it's called the Catacombs, and the reason it's called that is because it is like it's underground, and there's a gajillion tunnels you can run around.
A gajillion,
and within the catacombs are all, like you mentioned, these people. There's a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
And they all serve a purpose for, I don't know if it's a resistance yet. I don't know what it is. I just know we're trying to do a thing.
It's the resistance in
this game?
in the French territory.
In the French, yeah.
La Resistance.
All
La
of them have
Resistance.
French accents. And do you know how, like the Division has the hub that you go into? And
The
you
White
kind of,
House?
Yeah.
like in Division
It's
2,
kind of like that, exactly.
you have the White House, and then you kind of have missions that unlock as you level up.
Well, that's kind of one Dishonored, right?
Yes.
Like the original OG Dishonored, especially, but also the last Wolfenstein, because you had the sub in the last one.
You did.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't know. Was it kind of?
But you
like
couldn't.
that?
But you did have. But it would take you there
Yeah.
whenever you'd finish a level, and you could do things in there, explore things in there, and before you hit the next level. With this hub world, you basically pick up missions as you progress, as you level up, and you return to these different areas of the map that you'd been to before, doing different things.
Yeah.
Going back, I mean, it felt like I guess we don't really know for sure, but the last time we went to a certain area, there was a huge tower in the middle of it.
Do you know how, like, when you load in to do a certain mission in Destiny and you go to, like, Destiny 2, you'd go to the next, the moon, and now it's a new phase of the moon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So when you select what you want to do in the city, and when you load the mission in, you now have an icon going to a building that maybe was there before, but you also now it's more there than before or something. I don't know how to put that in the words, except for when we had to go find this thing, all of a sudden we saw something I had not seen before.
It could have been there, but we just didn't see it. Because it was so pretty.
And there was a distraction in this particular area. Some of the enemies you end up fighting later on, and I'm sure even later on, they're really hard. And welcome
to Wolfenstein.
And this level, it's like this gigantic. It looks like a bulldog, but mechanical and gigantic.
Yeah,
That's
in Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah.
That you know what I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
But it's hard. We couldn't figure. So when I came over to PlayStation, John's account carried his level, like, because it was tied to his Bethesda account.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
We think. When I came over, initially it showed me as a 0. I was the same level as John on Xbox. We thought it was because the trial was still downloading. We waited for the complete trial to download. Once it did, it still showed me 0. So now our new theory is it's because I only have a trial version of the game, and when I bring the real version over, it'll be 17, or it'll pick up or whatever.
Actually, I might have misunderstood that particular exchange. I didn't take my level up from Xbox to PlayStation. I simply started from the beginning and grinded and got to where I was.
That changes everything.
It does. I'm sorry. I didn't
everything
realize,
I just said was a lie.
No, I didn't realize that you thought that.
Yeah. So
Now
everything, we're good.
Yeah.
So never mind about what I just said.
Never mind.
But regardless, I was a 0, and John brought me to the catacombs, and we selected a mission to go do.
Yeah.
We noticed rather quickly.
He leveled up pretty quick.
I leveled up really fast, which was fantastic. And I actually was able to adjust my play difficulty, and it didn't affect John's play difficulty, even though I went down a level to kind of just make sure I don't
So
die.
you activated easy mode.
I
and
did.
John played
to
John
catch up
Rambo.
with John. John was John
Actually,
Rambo.
it was casual mode.
Casual.
Easy mode.
Easy is
Yeah.
one step below that,
Oh, wow.
I think.
Yeah. But now that I've caught basically John's like maybe a 22 now. He started as like a 15, and now I'm a 17.
Okay, so you're close.
So I'm close. I'll be able to switch back over, and it won't be bad. So in that catacombs area,
You want to play tonight?
I do want to play tonight.
You get in the game?
I think, but I have to download it, so it's the same. I'm just probably going to keep the trial version until I can buy it.
Okay.
But it's fine. But the game,
Chris, you want to play?
it's Chris is fantastic. Part of what you have to, one of the great things about the catacombs is it acts as a fast travel, which John, you know, everybody that listens knows how John is about that. You're able to go back and forth to the catacombs at leisure, however you want to.
Liege Hall?
The only caveat is if you start a level or you're getting chased by enemies as you're trying to get back to the map that activates you going back to the catacombs, if enemies are around or they're onto you, you can't travel. You have to take care of those enemies.
That's usually the way it is.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
The catacombs are great though because most like the hubs are supposed to be. They have an ammo supply area. They have all the things. And I was reading some of the. So if we pivot to what maybe the end game would be, as you read about the harder bosses level on, or as you level on, some things that stick out to me are
As you continue to level up.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
It was like, I'm just like,
He can say it. He can do it.
I'm just going to let him have this.
So there's missions, and they're listed as just regular missions. And some pop up that say raid brothers, and apparently there are 3 different brothers that are like insane to get through. I'm assuming raid level difficulty for a co-op game, if that makes sense. But they call it a raid. There's a colon, and it says brother, and there's 3 brothers. I think those are going to be, once we take out brother 3, that's going to be kind of like the big to do, I think.
Yeah.
We're in New Paris. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. New Paris.
New Paris.
New Paris.
As far as we know, that's where the game takes place. New Paris. And when you're New Paris.
Yeah.
New Paris.
Is there a moment when Les Mis plays in this?
I don't know. I don't know what
I
Les
guess,
Mis is.
well, no, Les Mis wouldn't exist in this world.
Les
would it?
Miserables.
Like we said, it's set in the 80s, so everything, the music is very 80s-y. There's VHS.
But that's really it, you know? It's
there's VHS, like,
Is there Hall Notes?
stores. It's not, if it is, it's in German. Everything's in German. It's fantastic.
Is there 99 Wunf balloons or whatever it is, the German version of red balloons?
One of the things I love the most about it now is the exploration, because of the previously said nooks, crannies, alleyways, rooms. You can pick up, they're called readables, which are like newspapers and documents that could possibly give you passcodes.
Yeah, they've had that before.
Yeah, there's floppy disk you can pick up to where if you find a terminal to put the floppy disk in, it can give you some pretty valuable information as far as how to access enemies,
floppy disks,
specific supply crates that you can only access by knowing the codes from the floppy disk that give you some really cool stuff.
I've heard, like, as far as the backtracking in the game, like, there are weapons that open up things,
Yes.
and that basically it's very much,
Metroid.
it's implied, like, look, if you want this, you're going to have to, go back, whether the story takes you there or not.
Yeah, you go up to some doors, they have locks on them, and you learn very early, of course, dummy, new to the game, there's a lock. You can either do this or this to it. One of the options is shoot it.
Yep.
Some of those locks say only this gun or this thing gets you through this lock, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
So one of the stars of the, we can say this, one of the stars of this game is the co-op buddy system and how it works, which is very interesting. You find these crates within the world where, and a lot of the things that you do in the world mechanically requires 2 people. So if you're playing by yourself, your AI sister does everything with you for you. She's a great AI companion. She does everything. She levels up with you, and she gets pretty. She handles.
Is she on Elizabeth level?
Yeah, she actually is. BioShock Infinite.
I got you.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
I'm here, man.
Don't mean to disrespect. But
Play it.
when you come up to these crates that require both of you to open, it gives you a shared life. And you can have a maximum of 3 shared lives when you're playing co-op.
Fantastic. The shared life thing.
So basically, when the 2 of you die and you're unable to revive each other, you both revive, or one of us revives,
Uses the shared life.
using the shared life to revive the other person, and you get the opportunity to do that 3 times if you both fall and bleed out.
Unlimited revives, I'm guessing, right?
No, the revive. There's a maximum.
Oh, okay.
That what he's talking about, there's 3. If she goes down and I'm full health, I can easily go to her
And pick her up.
Pick her up. That's
But,
what you
like
mean.
if she dies, then that's when you have to use
Fantastic.
Kind of like Division.
Yeah.
One of the other things.
And so
go ahead. One of the other. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
When's he gonna go ahead. No, go ahead for real.
So Shaun could signal me because I can't really see his life meter or his shield or how anything's doing. You have the option of a pep ability as you're building out your character. I think it's called pep.
It's called like a pep. You
can-
go, hey, sis, you're doing great, and then you'll get like 50 health.
You can either you can either sign up to do armor pep or life gauge pep. I think both of us did.
And that's a thing you don't realize at the point you decide what character you want to, I don't know, be or what attributes you want to have for your character. You kind of think you're just picking some things, right?
Yeah, like you picked cloak.
I picked cloak
In the beginning, I picked charge, which is a really cool.
Yeah.
They're both very cool.
How'd you not pick Cloak?
Well, and the way it happens, you kind of pick, and this is for when you're in the lobby, I thought. So you go, who do you want to be, Jess or Soph? And I was like, the blonde's cool, so let's pick the blonde.
Yeah.
What do you want to do here? What do you want to wear a helmet? Do you want to And then I'm just like, okay, these are things just for the look in the lobby.
And it doesn't do. It really, honestly, doesn't go out of its way to explain the benefits of any particular set of abilities.
Those choices you make literally follow you into the game.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I mean, you can yes to the shield and life meter pep, but with your cloak and your charge, you can get the charge if you choose cloak later in the game by leveling up.
That's very cool. Speaking of leveling up, you want to touch on that? How you can level your, or do you got?
Yeah, in Wolfenstein 2 and the Wolfenstein 1, there's not exactly a level up system. You perform certain tasks in order to take advantage of the perk system.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if you slide and headshot somebody 3 times, you get the ability, this ability unlocks and you can use it.
Yes.
I'm looking at you like you don't know. You know.
I do.
In Wolfenstein Youngblood, they don't have the perk system. It is a level-based system, very RPG-like as well, very level-based. You have the ability to upgrade your weapons, which I think you could do in Wolfenstein 2. I don't remember.
Yeah, you could upgrade the weapon.
Adding scopes, better muzzles, better magazines, all that kind of stuff.
I remember I made the shotgun and the assault, or the light heavy machine gun.
Yeah.
I upgraded those too.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, I was doing massive damage with those two.
So, example, you take your upgrades can be, and they're based on once you level up, you get points based every time you level up. So you get, let's say you want to build up your shield to from 100 to 125, and then the next build up from the shield is 150. Let's say you want to level up your cloak. You start off with just basic cloak. You sit still, you crouch in your cloak, and no one can see you. If you level it up, you can start moving while you're cloaked. At some point, when you build it out, you can be stationary cloaked and not use any of your energy gauge or whatever it goes with using that ability.
Yeah.
So that's so
the things,
and it works pretty well for the system they've built out.
It works really well. The things like you upgrade on yourself, like the cloak, your things that you do with your health and your shield, you spend tokens that you get as you level up. It's a different token that you use to unlock those abilities and upgrade them. When you upgrade your gun, you're using money that you found in the world or through crates.
And you're not going to be broke.
You're not going to be broke.
Yeah.
You're going to have plenty of money to do the things you want to do. which is
experiment.
cool.
If you
we
will.
learned there's a level we went in where it's underground and dark. God. And we quickly learned that
How do I turn on my light?
John needed a flashlight on a good gun.
I'm just holding the flashlight and popping
and a
people with the pistol.
And at this
doing nothing.
At this point, like ballers are coming at us.
Yes.
And it's relentless. So it's really cool how you have to. The more we played, the more we learned. Hey, we don't have to just come out shooting at these guys. Yeah. Like maybe it didn't take that long for you, but for me, collectively, it was like, hey, let's just sneak for a minute and then get where we want to go.
You have to know when to doom it out.
Yeah.
And when to fall back. Wolfenstein is a blend of the two. With Doom, you're just moving all the time, getting in people's faces, sawing them in half. This one, you can do that at certain points, but at some point, you need to fall back and use your scope.
For sure. It's John mentioned that it was as we're balling out one time. He goes, "Hey, this is your Doom warm up." And I'm like, "This is a warm up, Jesus!" Like, and then I saw you actually playing Doom the other day.
I was playing last night for about an hour.
Yeah. Are you getting ready for a Doom?
Yeah, I keep reminding myself as I play it. I'm like, I really love the guns in this game, which doesn't surprise me. But every time I play it, I get upset with the compass system in that game. It's like the one thing that holds me back. I was like, this is why I didn't like this game.
The compass,
just like where to go and all that. Yeah, the way that mini map went and everything. I was just like, I'm like, can't you just give me a clear marker of where to go?
Well, it's funny because the mini map in our game is fantastic.
So far,
I hope so.
When you go into a structure that you've never been in, you're starting to unlock the stairs and the rooms, and or when you're in the underground place that we talked about with John needed the light, it starts unlocking the ways to go around, and it's very. For me, it's been one of the most important things we have, because if you go into, you travel to a place in New Paris and you kind of want to know where to go. I'm looking at my mini map and I'm going, oh, that's where we got to go. Okay, so let's make our way that way. It very cool too. During a mission, sudden, hey, if you want to do this extra mission thing, will pop up and then you'll have a different icon on your map and you can decide to go do that too, which is cool. I'm excited to see where the story goes. I think it's been a pretty good story. I think the dialogue between the sisters, the idea of what we're doing, I want to see how that ties together, like finding BJ, like what's going to happen. Spoiler, the game spoiled apparently something BJ Blazkowicz did. I don't know in Wolfenstein 1 or 2.
TV.
Hitler. Mm-hmm. They spoiled that for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't ruin it. It's still a great moment.
Okay.
It is.
But I'm like, oh, so that happened. So that's not going to happen in this one, obviously. So I want to know what it is. Is it the brother thing that I talked about? The brothers they're these monumental things that are going to be fun. Is it a literal person? Is it just a building we have to take over? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't
Is
really
it gobbles.
I don't know where it wants us to go at any given moment. I mean, it'll tell you where to go, but it really surprises you. I don't know. You never really know what to expect. I like the way the levels are built out.
I do too.
I like the fact that it's not linear. It's funny how I think everybody knows by now, the reviews have been somewhat atrocious.
Which I don't.
Not completely. It's been, most of them have been 70s, but yeah, I know some of like, sound like the Switch has a lot of reviews and the Switch is kind of like hitting in the 60s, and I
don't see how this game could look on the Switch or run on the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't, and
Probably
I say that
runs better on my than on my Xbox.
on my Xbox it runs, but now seeing the difference in the Pro,
or Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
No kidding. They still haven't.
I still feel bad for you.
Yeah.
From what I've been reading, the criticisms that I gathered from the few I checked out today were mainly the AI, like in the sense of like, as John, you guys say, like there's verticality right in this, but they still they don't take advantage of it. It's more still like there's still that AI from how it was in Wolfenstein, where they just kind of go for you. They come for you and they're trying to take you out, as opposed to being like, okay, here's a bunch of people up high that are trying to snipe at me versus this person who's using maybe the next level down. And,
there's still snipers on balconies.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that the layering of the enemies towards us, depending on how the map or the scenario is set out to where we now have to engage, We've had balcony snipers. We've had gigantic mech dudes coming at us that are insanely difficult. And we've had just regular guys coming at us too.
Yeah, and we've been bum rushed by enemies. Don't get me wrong. But we'll still go into a building, go up 3 flights of stairs, and we still see enemies in those buildings.
Matter of fact,
like they don't follow the sound of your gunshots and come out of the building.
Yeah,
they stay where they are.
They don't.
One of the early bosses we had to take out, Commander whatever his name
on the
was.
stairwell.
He follows us up the stairwell.
He found us. We were looking for him. He was like,
I was like, John,
there he is.
That's the dude.
See?
That's the dude.
The other thing was just more of people say, from what I gathered, they like the verticality, but they're just like, it didn't have a lot of variety to it. And like one guy I was watching, he kind of pointed out, he's like, look, if something is 3 stories, for instance, right? He said you can go do stuff on the 3rd story and the 1st story, but he said the 2nd story will always have like something blocking the way, so you can't actually go out and take advantage of it.
I'm not gonna. That's a nitpick that is uncalled for.
well, people are just saying that.
Yeah,
For the most part, the gist of it is Arcane's vertical level designs don't mix with Wolfenstein.
yeah.
And I fundamentally disagree with that. I mean, you have to go in and go, I know what this is going to be, and just own it. Just embrace it, and you'll have fun with it. If you immediately just go, this isn't my Wolfenstein, you're probably not going to. You're not going to enjoy what you're playing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I don't understand. I mean, if we insist that games progress and get better and do things different, this is one of the best examples of doing things differently in a staple franchise, and I think it pulls it off pretty well.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm blessed to have not played the other Wolfensteins and played this one first, or if I've truly missed out, on the story that is the B.J. Blazkowicz prior to this.
The first one is a good game that gets really good towards the back half. The second one is truly a great game.
Yeah.
Like that is one of, I would easily, if we're doing top 25 games this generation, that would be on my list.
Wow, that's solid.
So that's definitely, if you're going to check out any of them, make sure you check out the second one.
I'm having a great time finding the collectible stuff. Yeah. And a lot of times that is up on the 3rd floor, and there's varieties of collectibles everywhere. I don't know. Like even my throwing mechanism, like I chose an axe. Mm-hmm. So like in the level, if I see like an axe on a wall that is like for emergency use only for like a fire or something, I can grab that axe and use it. All that kind of stuff that they thought about in placing the different things.
The world's very interactive for sure.
It's so gauge. I mean, of course you know this, but there's like buttons that maybe don't work right away that you got to figure out how to go do that, and all of that is going on while Nazis are chasing you, and what are they called? Suicide dogs are running at you, blowing up.
Yeah, I heard they upgraded those. Oh, and now they blow up, right?
They're insane.
Apparently the robot that kind of looks like a skinless Terminator robot.
Yeah,
that's apparently been in the other Wolfensteins, maybe. Mm-hmm. But this one added like a zigzag flash speed to it. Mm. And it's got like the trail effect of going really fast, and they're just on you.
I call them zippy.
They are insanely cool. They're very difficult. The enemies are tough, like we said. Some of them have icons next to their health that it's their shield that you got to break down first before you get to their health. Mm. And certain guns work better on certain enemies. Yeah. That was something I didn't know at first. And then, all games give you that, like, hey, this is a tip for as we're loading up the next scene. Read this. So I read it, and it said that to me. So that was great.
That to you?
Yeah, it said it to me. Man. I like it.
Yeah. I haven't read anything that anyone has said, like, this game is terrible or broke or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I plan to check out.
Broken. It's not broken.
Yeah. Like, I've heard the guns still feel like the guns that we know and love. I think the only other thing I heard, like criticism, they just said, like, look, to be honest, the characters, as far as especially the enemies that you come across, they don't have that same kick.
That I would agree with. Yeah. And you'd have to play, dude. You'd have to.
Are
play
you talking about boss fights? Because our first boss fight was
the characters in the games and their personalities aren't as drawn out and unique as they have been in the past. Like, that I can say.
The end of who you end up like finishing off at the end of the second game felt so good to finally get that moment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like you
and,
you wanted
and
that person.
I think
to
Chris
die.
would agree. Wolfenstein 2 has one of the best villains
For sure.
of the past
She is.
decade.
Oof.
She is just insane. And the things she does to you, there's so many WTF moments in that game.
Well, what
From
if we
the
don't
start?
What if we don't? What if we just haven't come across those yet?
It's possible.
Could be.
It's possible.
But I guess like that's the difference is that like 2
From the jump.
it's consistently and every time you think
we haven't
like,
been introduced to an actual villain,
like going from
guy in the middle.
her, like you get her in the opening and then like you're thinking, well, she's gonna be the main person. You're thinking like she's the dude from Far Cry 3 or whatever, and you're
Pretty
like,
much,
that's all I'm
exactly.
gonna get is this, right? And then all of a sudden you start getting all these other characters and you're like, oh no. They fleshed out every single one of these people that you're coming up against. And then also your allies, right? Like, so people really did like, that was what I think a lot of people gravitated towards.
Mate, I can definitely that sounds amazing. I haven't had a moment where I'm learning. I'm hearing Jess and Soph talk. These are 2 girls that have no business.
I think those two have very good personality together.
They have no business fighting the Nazis like they are. They're going to look for their dad. They've been trained by their dad and mom, and they're kind of
Mowing them down.
the more that they're getting better as they go, obviously, right? The lights just went out and we don't know what happened, but not really. I've listened or I've read with Nazi commentary, the subtitles pop up. So you're understanding what they're saying. I think it's because the regime is now shrunk.
Yep.
And I think that's what took away the whatever it was that the previous villains had. It's because it's dwindling.
Yeah.
And maybe
The
that's
last
what
game
it is.
the last game is, them at their height.
Yeah.
That's clear because, that's when the resistance, right? So it makes sense that you would see them less powerful and now the shoe is on the other foot, right?
Yeah. I guess.
Which might explain also why they don't give you as many, I guess, people, large of cast and, access to things, right? It's more of like, hey, here's 2, like, covert experts, right? Of there and just go in there and see what they can do to accomplish their mission.
I mean, I want to see who else we get as far as allies too, because, we said in the catacombs are there. One of the people that are there now, we had to go rescue. So that gives us the possibility that there's going to be more people that end up coming to us.
Yeah.
I would like to see one of them turn on us. Kind of add a little plot twist.
There you go.
They just like they've been speaking French the whole entire time, and all of a sudden,
999.
Yeah.
And as far as
go,
hub wars go,
What do you know when I say?
yeah, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
The colors in the catacomb, the way the pop of neon is everywhere, beautiful. One of the
Beautiful
best.
game.
One of the best hubs I've ever been in.
One of the things I am curious about is as we continue to play, will the missions start getting repetitive? I've heard that the missions can get very repetitive.
Go here, kill thing.
Well,
The scenery doesn't change that much. You go back to this place over and over again, that kind of thing. So we'll see. But otherwise, it's more Wolfenstein.
That that is it.
Mixed with Dishonored, and
Yeah.
I'm just loving the blend.
Maybe that is it a little too, because I'm gonna imagine that the openness of this is not on par with Dishonored, like in the sense of like Dishonored had some very large, very large levels, and I've heard from what I've read they're nowhere near. Maybe a little bit on Dishonored 1, but definitely not Dishonored 2. Like where there's the sub part before you go to the Clockwork Mansion and then you have the Clockwork Mansion. Yeah. But maybe that's it, because the one thing that was pretty big in the first 2 is that you never felt like you were staying in one place too long. You're consistently being taken to a new thing, and therefore it's fresh. It consistently, you're like, oh, what is going on here? Oh, this is interesting from where I was before. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
yeah, and in this place, we know we're kind of hunkered down. And
We can't say that.
We can't say hunkered down?
You can't say. He could say that. You cannot say
Why
that.
can't I say hunkered
It's
down?
football season.
Oh.
I'm gonna need your badge. You'll get back in the.
But yeah.
Guys, if you had Richards,
How long have we played? I feel like I can give it a Richard because I think I feel what the game is.
most have said the story is about 10 hours. So
I've read that it takes about 25 hours to beat the game.
really,
Yeah.
oh.
And we've played, I know we're at least
We started over a couple times, but
that first
total
that,
gameplay we've
surpassed 10 hours.
yeah. Whether solo or together, we've surpassed 10 hours each.
Yeah, at least. I was joking that I should be a level 34 because I've leveled up to 17 twice.
That's funny.
I think if you know this show, I have to give it a certain score.
You don't have a choice. Like, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. I will say this, the caveat to this. If you're a loyal listener to the show, you know the score I'm about to give it, right? But this game is on my radar for Game of the Year so far. That's how much I'm truly I'm at work thinking about this game. I'm DJing events thinking about getting home to play the game. It's been fun. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I've never played the first two. I'm digging this game. I want
plus,
more.
you like playing
John Rambo.
You like playing online with John Rambo.
Me and Shaun Rambo and John Rambo. We're dominating. So yeah.
So what are you going to give it? Just say it.
Well, you know what I have to give it, right? You guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
My official Richard score for Wolfenstein Youngblood. Das ist 9!
Peak.
Yeah,
Well,
I was supposed to peek. Yeah, I had to lean back.
John,
It can't not be a 9 for me. 9!
As for someone who's played all the other games in this generation for Wolfenstein, I think it's a provisional score. I'd like to come back and give a final score, but I'm at 8.25.
I knew it. I thought you were going to go 8.75, but I'm cool with 8.25. It's good. This game is good.
That's a great score.
Can an 8.25 make a Game of the Year for John? No.
It's my personal list, yeah.
You could.
Absolutely.
Because
I can give a 6.5 my game. I thought of putting Darksiders on my Game of the Year list last year.
Yeah.
And what did I give that? 7 or a 6.5 or a 7?
This game is nice. It's done well. It really is. So,
Well, cool.
thank you, John.
I hope you all finish.
Let's finish it.
Let's finish it together.
Let's kill some Nazis.
Let's finish each other
I'll
off.
let you know when it all comes to Games Pass, and if you want to play again, come to play with me.
Maybe one day I can play Games Pass.
That's funny. Yeah, you gotta get that. You gotta get that settled. Because man, 9-6.
So we got some updates. We're gonna finish Wolfenstein Youngblood. John's gonna have to get a new Xbox. So we'll see.
Yeah. You guys want to do some news?
Sure.
Okay.